Yes, welcome to our live chat. It's a Friday. I can see we have, I think we are going to give about a few minutes from now. It's 3 minutes uh, past 5, and we'll be diving in our conversation. But for those that are joining us, probably you can, if you have a question or concern that you'd love to know about tourism as a business, please feel free to put your question in the comment section. We'll pick it up and then we'll be able to. We'll start with a small brief of who we are, the Uganda Tourism Consultants. That is at 5:10. So we're going to have a few minutes as we wait for those joining in. I know we've been informing our people that will be on live. I know I can see the number is growing steadily. No matter the number that we'll have, we'll be diving in. So please feel free to put your question in our comment section. It's gonna be a freestyle conversation. We are helping people to start, run, manage, and grow their tourism businesses. I'm very delighted to have you all. And in about a few, we are going to be rolling. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. My name is Idris Kamoga, and I am the founder of the Uganda Tourism Consultants. We want to give you a very brief background of who we are as Uganda Tourism Consultants. And then probably from there, we'll dive into your questions, and then we'll be able to give you some answers. If there are some questions, but we feel we could give or we could share with you something about our story, our formation, how we came into existence as one of the most or one of the leading tourism business consultants in the country. Well, in 2008, myself, I graduated from Makerere University with a bachelor's degree in tourism. And I started my career working in a tour company. Of course, as a young person who were very desperate in learning more. Personally, I was so keen on gathering lots of information about the tourism industry and the tourism business, more so the tour operations business. And it was very hard to access information around that time. For those that were there, 2008, it was very hard to access information. You could not go next door and you ask how to start, how to run, how to manage, and how to grow your tourism business. Specifically the tour operation, tour, travel, safari, among others. So as a young man then, I had a strong faith to learn. So I had to devote myself on learning. Then I was working with a safari company. Of course, there was more time on internet. There was a lot of information gathering. My employer would send me to various conferences, exhibition centers, seminars, and even training. That is within the country and outside the country. And at one point, I had a calling. And I said, how can I use all the information that I have actually gathered to change the lives or to change the learning environment in the tourism industry for our country to benefit the rest of the community? Of course, I had gained some skills in web development, because that is very important for anyone that is doing tourism as a business. There's a lot of customers online. So I took a number of years before its formation, what I would call preparations. I prepared so well. I gathered a lot of information. Even up to now, we're still gathering a lot of information. Learning is our culture. Every day, at least we learn something new. And of course, we made use of the trainings that we had. And whenever we could come back home, we could organize this information to benefit ourselves, and also the passion of sharing this information was really high. So it was started on a small scale within friends, and through recommendations, people could throw referrals to us, friends of friends. And in the end, we exhibited a lot of trust in our works, a lot of competency, commitment to assist people in understanding tourism as a business. And today, this is how we've transformed. And I'm right to say that we have gathered solid experience for about 12 years now in assisting startups to run, manage, and grow in tourism businesses through a number of services that we are offering. There are so many. So it's a short story, and our commitment here remains to extend free advice. We extend free advice to those seeking to start and manage tourism businesses, from marketing finding, accessibility, product approach, and company organization. And you also today, we're saying we want to talk about startups, we want to talk about market, and we want to talk about growth as well. But it's an opportunity also to interact with the outside community, because we've been doing our tutorials online, but today we want to get those live feedback from you. If you have a comment, if you have a question, please put it to us in a comment and we'll access it, and we're going to give you live feedback. This is the essence of our live streaming today. We want to thank those that have trusted us this long with business. And we commit to you that we will offer the best to ensure success for your agencies. And we will remain at the forefront of seeing a better organization of your companies. See? And we've worked with very reputable businesses in tourism. I may not mention because the list is endless, but we've worked with very big agencies, medium-sized and small companies. And we've got a very rich product knowledge in tourism business consultancy. So we want to give you an assurance that if you have a concern, remember, we'll give you free advice. We'll give you free advice on a number of issues, from business registration to market approach. So we want to get started. We're just giving you a small background of the formation of Uganda Tourism Consultants, the genesis, how we rose into, you see. Of course, for those that want to know more about who we are, you can visit our web portal, ugandatourismconsultants.com. And we have our social media handles. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, and we are on LinkedIn. And we are happy to do this live streaming with you people. We'll be closing this session at about 18:30. And we want to go down into some of the questions to see how we can assist you. That's the most important thing for our live session today. Well, I'm going to do random, but I'm sure time will permit us and we will be able to get this done and dusted. And I hope everyone can listen very well. And we're going to try as much as we can to break down every bit so that you can be able to understand, right? Okay, let's start with, I can see Mugisha Bob. Thank you for streaming in. Of course, Naiga, thank you for streaming in. You're saying happy to be here. And there is also Yonel Mpake. You're saying, thank you, Mr. Edris, for doing this. All right, so Mr. Mugisha Bob. Mugisha, I think he says it's a thank you comment. This is good information in improving businesses. So I want to applaud everyone that has joined this live stream. Well, as we wait for your key questions to come, let's take some key things. We are going to talk about startup, right? And we'll also run into growth. We'll also look at market approach, right? And I've seen a number of companies that are struggling with market. And we'll try to break that for you because marketing tourism business is one of the most easiest things that you could ever think of. Previously, we talked about a marketing action plan, and we've highlighted some of the key things that would be in the marketing action plan. I'm sure you can go to our YouTube channel and you can watch out full video, but we'll try to highlight some of these things. But let's dive in with the startup. I have so many times been approached by people. Our clients come in here, say, Idris, I want to start a company. And to be specific, I want to start a tour and travel company. And I always tell you, get time and come and we talk. And some have managed to come and talk to us. But I'm not going to change what I always share with them. If you really want to be part of the tourism industry, take time to prepare yourself. The question here would be, what does it take for me to prepare myself? Right? Prepare yourself. First of all, get product knowledge. Even before when you think of your business name, even before you think of doing your company registration, get prepared, get product knowledge, know how to do things right. Unlike any other industry, tourism, most customers are beyond average. Remember, You're going to serve doctors, you're going to serve lawyers, you're going to serve miners, engineers. All these people are beyond average. In other words, the clients that you're going to serve, they might be knowing more than you do. Get product knowledge. I was once approached by a graduate, fresh graduate from Makerere University. I applauded her for the spirit of entrepreneurship. She said, Idris, I want to start a company. I said, okay, cool. Have you worked somewhere in a tour company? She said, no. She had no experience. I'm not saying experience would probably be handy, but like a baby that has not breastfed, take time to prepare yourself. If you're a fresh graduate, find where you can share your skills. Find where you can do practical learning, because the institutions do not give you practical learning. In other words, you can volunteer in a safari company 2, 3, 4, 5 years, at most 5 years. Someone would say 5 years is a lot, but it will save you, it will ground you. Product knowledge is so complex. You must know everything, not just knowing one thing. And the implications of you not having enough product knowledge, you'll have stagnation in growth. Or else you'll be complaining there is no market. Or else you'll have no conversions. Or else you won't be able to break even. This is not right. So take time to prepare before you even get. But I have seen big mistake. Someone gets a room, calls it an office, and you've opened shop. What are you going to use to pay rent? What are you going to use to service your account? Because every month the bank will be charging you ledger fees, etc., exercise duty, and whatever minimum balance you use to open up that account, you lose the money. So ideally, the first thing would be, how do you acquire product knowledge? And we've done so many videos about how to acquire product knowledge. Please go in and see how you can get product knowledge. So for startup, ideally, before you go into legalizing your business, which is very key, but I want to say priority must be acquiring product knowledge. Think of what you want to start. See how you can get immersed into it. Understand it. Why company A has got more sales than company B? Company A might have gotten product knowledge enough, as opposed to those that have not had product knowledge. I'll repeat, someone with product knowledge is a baby that has breastfed for 2.5 years. And someone without product knowledge will always be malnourished, will always have business stagnation, will always have slippery slopes, will always have complications in business, tourism business management. Otherwise, tourism remains one of the most lucrative businesses. And we've talked about all this. Most lucrative, but requires the least capital. Because when you want to go do real estate, you must have huge capital. When you want to do mining, we are now talking about most lucrative sector that countries benefit from. We are talking about tourism, which requires literally no money for you to start, because if you're doing tour operations, you find hotels built for you. Airlines are there for you. Your work is to coordinate these and aggregate these services in the bulk, and you sell them to customers. You find lions that are in the national park. No tour operator owns a national park. No tour operator, some tour operators don't own. Who owns Serena among the tour operators here? No. In other words, but you cannot do real estate without enough capital. You cannot do mining. Mining is very expensive. But with the little you have, you can come and invest into the tourism industry, and you start your company, you flourish. Of course, there must be commitment. There must be transparency. There must be trust. There must be honesty. Those three may look or may sound the same, but there is a degree of uniqueness. Trust, honest, and transparency. If you can hold and grip yourself to that as a startup, the sky may be the limit. Your success, your progress won't be limited. As opposed to those that are not honest, that are not trustworthy, that are not transparent. Right? So that is for a startup. So if you are thinking about, let me register my company, that's good. Let me open office. You even have the energy to start doing business cards. In other words, you're telling people you're ready for business. You're throwing adverts here and there. Your social media is going viral, but you cannot sustain a very good conversation about taking 5 people to Bwindi Forest National Park. You cannot have a 5-minute conversation with an agent about Nyungwe National Park. What are you opening? That's the question. What are you opening? 1 year down the road, you've not seen a consultant, you're not seeking for product knowledge. Just a second. So the question here is, what are you trying to do? So get product knowledge first. Lock yourself inside for months. Get trained. Learn as much as you can before you open shop. Opening shop is very easy. Trust me. Opening shop is so easy. Right? But so many companies are in town. In Kampala, in Kigali, in Arusha, in Nairobi, they don't break even. You have a website. Of course, you made someone to do your website. That's very nice. But poorly done because you don't know, you didn't get product knowledge on what must be done. You were misguided. Even when you get a family request, you cannot confirm it. You cannot take it because you do not know how to quote. Your communication skill is poor. Even when we put you in a room of 30 tourists to talk to them about your product, you cannot say something. You cannot handle a conference, an online call session with an agent on the other side. Right? You can't. right? So prepare yourself. That's my word for starters. Okay, let me try to see if I get one other question, then we'll come back for market approach. I think that's a good word for startup. Then we go into questions, then we come into market approach, right? Yonel, question. Is it better for a starting company to deal with a small or larger group of tourists? Thank you, Yonel, for that question. You see, we've been talking about preparations. If you're well prepared, that's enough. You can handle even 100 tourists. You can handle series, what we call block bookings. Series would be, for example, in January, you have 4 groups coming. February, you have another 2 groups coming. March, you have 1 group coming. April, you have another group coming. That's what we call series. Right? That's what we call series. So you small, and tour companies are never big. So, if you're organized, tour companies and startups, let me tell you the composition of startup. A startup company, you have the CEO called the director. You have an operations manager. I was trying to get some charging here for my accessories. You have an operations manager. You have a finance manager. You may have a consultant. 4 people. That's okay. Small as you are, you can make wonders. 4 people. And probably you're going to have freelance guides. So I don't know what you mean by, is it, so business finds ready people. We have so many small companies, but with bigger businesses, and we've got bigger companies, but with small businesses. So I would prefer to be small, but with very big business. Right? So be small, be organized. I think we'll talk about organization one time. Be organized. But most tour operators or most people in tourism businesses, there is a lot of disorganization. You don't know where you put files for POP. You don't know where you put permits. You don't know how to vouchers, where vouchers are. You don't know offices are a mess. Having a big office, say 40, 50 meters squared, doesn't mean that you're big in operations. You may have a small office. In Europe, tour companies are at home. It's a small office, but these are agents that you're proud of. They send you groups and groups and groups. So literally, it's all about good organization. A small company can handle bigger businesses. And there are examples I'm not going to mention here. But being in a very big building doesn't mean that you're a big tour company. I hope Yonel, I have tried to break down. So as you grow from small to medium sized, I've always told people that are starting up, If you cannot employ someone, have your wife, work with your wife. Because at the end of it all, you are the director, I assume. You have one head and two hands. But you find directors, they visit Uganda Wildlife Authority offices. Today, you run to the bank, you go to pick clients from the airport. That's weird. To someone who is going to grow, it doesn't work. Work with your wife. If you employ qualified people, I know you have a lot of stories, employees will come, I train them and go. That's how business is structured. Even other sectors have that, the same. Employ quality team to assist you, delegate to them, you will grow. So small companies handle as big businesses as $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. I don't know. And bigger companies, the ones you see, can hardly handle even thousands or 10,000s of dollars as business. So small, well-organized, well-laid, with a rich product knowledge will definitely be bigger in revenue. Thank you. Okay, Mogisha is back. He says, in developing product knowledge, I know one can use internet to acquire information, but the issue comes in when you have to go to the field, but you lack enough resources in terms of money. I agree. You can use internet to get product knowledge. For example, there are so many YouTube tutorials that would actually try to give you knowledge on something that you want to crack. Even here, we've given so much of the information. If you sit here and you try to watch our YouTube channel, you'll probably learn something. But we've already said there are so many ways on how you can get product knowledge. And for starters, I want to tell you this. This is the formula that you must take. Can you start by doing things that have got great impact to your business, but requires less expenses? I'll give examples. Can you start with items or activities that are of bigger impact, right? But they require less in terms of costs. And they are there. They are there. As you migrate to items that have got bigger impact, but they come with a bigger cost, that is going to help you grow. Now, in terms of product knowledge that Mogisha you're talking about, I want to give you one that requires less, but is of a bigger impact. When you talk about places, going to places to see and to get product knowledge, it requires a bigger impact, right? It is of a bigger impact to your company, but requires a bigger cost, especially when you're going places up country, visiting national parks. You need fuel, you need this. I agree. But like you've said, you can use internet. Internet is cheaper, requires less for you to watch a tutorial and learn. And it is of a bigger impact to your company, as long as you can learn and implement. The problem is implementation. Even on our channel here, we've tried to unlock so many things, but companies do not implement. Now, an idea that is not implemented is never good. So, can you learn the habit of implementing? About product knowledge still, why would you go to national parks? You are a tour company, you are in Kampala. You can even walk to Kampala Serena to do site inspection, right? Because we are looking at product knowledge, farm trips, right? Simple. It is easy. Write an email to Kampala Serena that I am Bob Mugisha, sales manager, Equator Tours. My team would like to visit your facility on Friday, 2 p.m. for site inspection. We therefore request for your acceptance to allow my team. You can even walk from your office to go and do site inspection. You get to understand standard rooms, deluxe rooms, executive rooms, amenities at Serena. But majority tour operators do not know all. And when it comes to product knowledge, you must know even the size of the room in terms of square meters, the amenities that come with that room. How is a standard room different from a deluxe room? You see? Now we are talking about, some places are very far, we need a lot of money. Who said so? Start with areas that are within your vicinity. How many of you have been to Protea by Marriott Entebbe? And your own companies are in Entebbe. But someone has never been to Marriott Protea. He's selling something that he literally doesn't know. But you can request for a site. And there is no hotel, I want to say this, no hotel, because sales managers of these hotels are very sharp. They know whenever they host tour operators who are the largest source of their business, they will host you. They will even give you lunch. Because they know whenever they friend and grow relationship with you, they are ready to have bigger markets. Right? So, I want to say it again. Start with places around you. As you gather resources probably to look at visiting national parks. I know farm trips are a bit costly. Then in the end, you'll start applying activities that are of greater impact. And they come with a large cost, like going to Chibale. Of course, you need fuel, you need to hire a car, you need some experience permits, but that is the best for your company. Acquiring product knowledge. And you can imagine you are in Uganda, you cannot go for these places. I agree, because of the funds. But look, tourists come here with those big cameras. You think that they are here as tourists, but they take millions of photos. They go back home and they become your agents, and they have invested in thousands and thousands of dollars to come. And you hosted them as tourists, but they came with a business mind and they have started this business. And now there are people you're asking for business. So let's put our pieces together. Let's prepare. And you can do all these in form of preparation. Visit these places before you open shop. You see, I've liked some people say, Idris, I haven't opened shop yet, but I'm doing background preparations. And how would you want to do this in a very progressive way? Have an action plan for your business. An action plan will list you activities, right? Will list for you activities that you will be doing in a given period of time, how to do them, right? Otherwise, the problem here, you wake up, you don't know what you're doing, you're asking someone, right? That, what am I going to be doing today? No, but an action plan will spell what you're going to do in January, what you're going to do in February, what you're going to do in March, what you're going to do in April, what you're going to do in June. You can even do an action plan for 2 years. Right now, you should be knowing what you're going to do in 2025. And that will be your compass. But most of you, as startup, you're blown by wind, you go this direction. You meet another strong wind, takes you the other direction. You meet another wind, it takes you far north. Another dangerous hurricane, it brings you down to the bottom. You see, it doesn't work like that in two operations. You get it? So, I feel you need to be guided. You must be guided on how you're going to plan your growth. And there are so many things, right? There are so many things, Mugisha Bob, that you can actually grip on to have a steady progress during your startup, your running process, your managing process, and the growth process. Right. Okay, we want to dive back to the marketing approach. And I've had so many questions. Idris, market. Talk about market. I have suffocated. We are in August. We are in August. It's almost ending. People have done more than 200 safaris, I must tell you. I must tell you. More than. That is, on average, a company is actually doing about more than 25. But that's still a small number. I'm telling you. People are doing more than 30, 40 safaris, and they are grand safaris, not city tours. Just because they understood the market. Now, I want to help you understand the market in the most basic way possible. All right? One, before you start up, ask yourself, who is that customer that I want to target? I repeat, ask yourself, close yourself indoor, because there's a moment when you have an idea coming in. I want to start a tour company. I want to start tourism business. I want to open up a hotel. I want to open up a lodge. And the same question, investors like Aga Khan, who owns Serena franchise, Serena Nairobi, Kigali Serena, Lake Victoria Serena, Kampala Serena, name it. He asked himself, who is that customer that I want to serve? And that's why you see the brand for Serena. The big problem that tour companies, entrepreneurs are facing, you want to appeal to everyone, which is impossible. What am I trying to mean? Can you find a niche? In Europe, there are specialty tour operators. And their specialty lies in a niche. Could be an experience, cycling tours, graveyard tours, shark diving. But in Uganda, in Rwanda, across East Africa, someone is offering everything. He's doing about 30 destinations. Congo, Burundi, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Botswana, South Sudan, But I've had interactions with these people. They always come here for consultation. And I'm happy to challenge them. I give them 5 minutes, talk about Malawi. Even they don't know the capital city, but they keep bringing copied and pasted information to their platform. You must know the market. You can do a niche in as far as geographical or scope of operation and say, I am going to promote country Rwanda. Be an expert to that. Even from asleep, clients will feel so much confident. Agents will feel so much confident of having a very rich product knowledge. Right? So, the question is, who is that customer that you want to serve? If you've listed the customer that you want to serve, do you know his needs and preferences? Business to thrive is all about solving your customers' problems. You're doing Malawi, you're doing Congo, you're doing South Sudan, you're doing everything. The question here is, whose problems are you solving accurately? That's why you see some companies are actually doing VVIP, luxury exclusive. They'll never cross down to do budget, no mid or semi-luxury. Their intent is to promote luxury. Call them flying safaris. They'll put you to very high-end Singita, one and only. That's it. They ask themselves, and that's any person of camping or anything will not cross their line. And that's very good. But market has become complex for you simply because you are trying to appeal to everyone. In other words, you are chewing something that you cannot swallow. I've always told and I've given examples to my clients that even when you discount pork in a Muslim community to 100%, no one will take it. But if you know that I am selling pork in a Catholic community and on the Sunday a kilo goes for $50, they will buy it no matter how expensive it will be, because already you're creating supply where there is demand. The market approach is ideal where you as a business entrepreneur, you think of creating supply where there is demand. You see? Someone talks about, oh, trade shows, we've gone to trade shows, but things are not working. You know why? A market is a place where a buyer meets a seller. Is that right? It ceases to be a market when a buyer meets a buyer and when a seller meets a seller. So, as you're planning to go for trade shows, and we've done so much tutorials about trade show participation, do research. Remember, we know who we are targeting. Right? Is he a seller or a buyer? Now, in our interests, since we are sellers, our interest is to meet buyers. But you go to a trade show, and then what happens? You meet someone, and someone starts, do you bring tourists to South Africa? We do Ruben Island. Da, 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 da. You a seller, and you're meeting another seller. It doesn't work. That's negative. Right? So Market approach is very easy as long as you understand the first question. Who are you targeting? And that alone is going to help you optimize resources. It will help you optimize resources for your company. You'll know which road shows to attend. You'll know which online strategies to use, right? But where do you go wrong in market approach? Failure to understand your audience. You're shooting in air. You see? You're shooting in air. You don't know who your target market is. Therefore, you cannot customize products to meet their needs and interests. That's it. You see? So, we must understand target market. Because to me, marketing is the easiest. Of course, online market is getting congested every day. And it's very competitive. And I've always argued that tourism is actually moving into relationship. I know Idris, and I have to book with Idris's company. That's where it's going. And I've always given advice to those going for trade shows that can you try to grow your relationship with the people you meet? You can even be off the trade show site. Go for a coffee. You see, get their WhatsApp numbers. It's after the show, it's just to say hi. How is your Sunday? How is family? Try to go as that. She will tell you it's John's birthday. You know, you can ask, can I call in for birthday wishes? So relationship. Price doesn't matter because clients have got the resources. If price was a problem, people would not be sleeping in Singita. One and only, a room of $22,000 per night, 9,000 US dollars per night, and probably a 3-4 day gorilla trekking for a family would strike into 80,000 US dollars. And someone burns all that money in 3 days. Price is not an issue. What matters? Service, relationship. Because even when you have a good relationship with an agent or with the person giving you business and you do poor service, of course they'll leave you. So complement good service with relationship. People would know, I know Idris, I know Brenda, I know so and so. Trust me, you'll get business. So try to grow relationship, you know. Off business, talk some, you know, be social, exhibit that good sense of humor, you know, something of that sort. And trust me, it will help you to grow and drive on with your market. All right. So, however, there are so many avenues of finding market. But now the most good market to have is probably working with agents. All right? Working with agents. I've already said online is congested. And majority online guests, of course, by characteristics, they have lower budgets as opposed to those that approach agents and travel advisors. You see? And as a business person, of course, you would look where sweet waters are coming from. So I would recommend, but the question would be, it is how do I get the agents? I think we can now, we'll find time and address that in a bigger perspective. But, well, I continue to thank everyone that has stayed on the stream. We are almost a few minutes to the closing, and we'll be talking about growth. I want to look through and see if I can get another question. I think I don't have any other question here. I think we can talk about growth, and then we wrap it up, right? Okay. So, in all and whatever we're doing as business people, you must grow, right? You must grow. You can either grow in assets, you can grow in size in terms of employees, you see, but we're looking at growing in terms of scope of operations. You can grow in terms of, see, you're doing Uganda and you add another destination. Maybe you complement Rwanda. You may also complement other destinations. That is, if you've done ground research and you've gained product knowledge, right? Growth is very important. And in one of the videos here that we've presented on how you can try to use optimally the profit you gain from your operations. Could be tours, you're doing vehicle hire, you're doing this, you're doing that. And we want to use the same formula again, because people have always asked, how do we grow amid all these challenges, all that stuff? And you know, there are the responsibilities, money coming, money, all that stuff, right? And I want to give you the same formula here on our live stream. Even 1 cent is 100% full. 1 cent, right? And to me, if you get $100, right? Whatever, that's your profit. You've done business and you have $100. Call it $100, $100, $1, $20, $300, $1,000, $10,000, because you will do business where you're getting profit as 30,000 US dollars. But my point here is to get 100%, and we're gonna divide it into a number of things that will lead you to growth personally, growth as a company, and growth in other areas. Because this is the ultimate, right? This is the ultimate. Then it is upon you to apply the allocations accordingly, right? So if we get, let's use $100, right? You do business, you hire a vehicle, you have a vehicle you don't have, but you get $100 out of that. We're looking at growth. And this is growth for startup. As you grow, of course, money will be coming in. The same formula would apply. You're getting 10,000 US dollars as your profit, right? It may look as a simple formula, but practically it has manifested and it has prevented companies to run into deficits, right? So when you have $100 on table and your finance manager receives it, right? That's your profit. See, we're not going to look at the tax man, blah, 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 all that. But our interest is to use $100 to grow. Let's do 50% of that back to the company, right? Because that's good enough. That's good enough. Now, get that bigger sum that you got one day, $2,000, $3,000. See how much you were supposed to return to the company. And that part of 50% will certainly be responsible for overhead expenses for your company. Marketing, electricity, cleaning, buying a computer, office furniture. You see? Now, if you're like these companies that we talked about that they are doing 30, 40 businesses a month, and the turnover altogether is probably 100,000, you can see you have $50,000 back to the coffers of the company. That's enough. No company will die with that heart. No company. Marketing will be done on time and will be possible. Logistics for the company will be procured on time, right? Of course, as a director, you know, for you to serve the company, you must get something that meets your personal, right? So you can choose and say, okay, as a director or directors, can we have 20, let's say 25%. I don't know how many directors. If you're 2, 3, divide 25% among us. It's your profit. We are not looking at tax man, right? Probably the 50% that the company took, probably at the end of the year, of course, you have provision award, blah, 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 all that stuff. So 25% will be your personal things. And why am I bringing that 25% to you, the director or the directors? To avoid immersing pressure to the 50% that the company is retaining. Because whenever you don't do that, you inflict on the 50%. And you may not have boundaries, and that alone may lead you in deficits. In other words, you will end up in red and you don't know. So the 25%, I'll give an example. Now imagine a company did a turnover of 50,000 in the month of August, right? And 50% is already to the company, which is 25%. We have another 50%, right? That is 25%, 25,000. Now we have 50% remaining where directors are having about, what is 50% of 25 remaining? About 12,500. That's good money. That's good money, at least to help you do the errands. Take back kids to school. Build that kitchen that you want. Do the floor of your house that you want. And that's 1 month, right? That's 1 month. And so it is going to save you encroaching on the companies. But what other companies do as mistakes is all profits are in one basket. So when you're eating, you don't know whether you've exhausted what belongs to, So in other words, you just find yourself in a big ditch, right? So My point here is you must have visible boundaries to save your company from. Because the moment you go into a deficit and your deficit grows and you are in red for about 30, 50,000 or 60, 70,000 US dollars, for you to come back might be a very big problem. I have seen companies headed there. I have seen companies amid there. And trust me, they get difficulties in paying salaries. They get difficulties in paying overhead costs. They get difficulties in everything. And almost half dead. Almost half dead. Right? So don't get there. Be able to watch those red flags. Now we have another 25%, which is the 12,000. We used 50,000, but we want to go back to our $100. The $50 went back to the company. $25 went to directors. Of course, they have to buy some meat for their families, fuel their cars. The essence why you formed that company is to look after you. No one should tell you anything. You must enjoy. You must pay yourself a check, right? A responsible check. But we're using a smaller figure, but you can apply any figure, whichever turnover that you've made, and see where you would be anyway, right? Okay, then we have 25%. We are talking about growth. Of course, our company is running smoothly, you're running on the 50%, electricity is there, internet is there, 24/7, drinking water, coffee table is there, lunch is being served for the staff, we can go for farm trips, we can do anything. The 50% is huge to keep operations running. You can go for trade show A, you can buy a ticket, you can pay for the hotel, all that is possible. And we have a 25% left, which is another $25. Now, if we go back to our 50,000, we have another 12,500 left. And what do we use that for? Development. Asset acquisitions. Do you want to get a car, a Land Cruiser? Keep it on the side. There's no Land Cruiser that is 12,500. But on the next business, you're going to get, the next month, you get $5,000. Let's go as little as that. You see, because people would say, Idris, why are you having bigger figures? But this is what companies are doing. In my past career, and I was working in Kigali, I want to be very honest, invoices that were doing 250,000. 150,000, 170, 13,000, 50,000. The list was around 15, 13, 12, 9,000. But back in Uganda, people are doing invoices of $2,000. Before when you hear me saying people are doing invoices of $500,000, reality, we had them. And the agent probably would say, Idris, I want to make this payment in 2 parts and send 250,000. I remember we had an agent, they used to bring series, and they used to buy between $150 permits for a given year for their series. And they would send that money, because the MOU was saying you must send that money so that we can acquire permits in advance for the next year. For instance, right now we'll be doing 2024, 2025. So for 2025, those series starting, say, with January before October. So they could send 450 permits. They could send probably about close to 300,000. Is it? 300,000. 280,000. Get 1,000 500 times 150. See what you get. You see? And that is only permits. And we used to host their clients at one and only Gorilla's Nest. A room was about 5,000. First entry room, that was a Forest King room. You see? So it's real. You can do as big a business as that, right? And you invoice 100,000, 150,000, 180, 200,000 US dollars. That's about 800 million. You see? Because about, yes, 300,000, it's about close to $1 billion. You see? And money will come. You do compliance, you have access to the money. But still, we go back to principles of honest transparency and trust that will ensure success of your operations. You'll put good use of that money, right? So you have a chance to get a turnover for August as 70,000 US dollars, and 50%, 30,000, 35,000 goes. We have another 50% by 2, about 170 something, goes to the coffers of asset financing, right? You need a Land Cruiser. That Land Cruiser can be as high as 70,000. So you need quite maybe a full year, 150. The next time you get 3,000. So you go on aggregating those, you know, that 25%. But remember, you have a 25% that is, tomorrow you're going to need an office, right? You're not going to be renting. Growth. When we talk about growth, we mean serious growth. It's after getting your first Land Cruiser, you may start saving for a second Land Cruiser, if that lies within your action plan. Right? The next thing, if you have in your action plan acquiring office, land, and you build office premises, that's how companies grow from scratch. You see? But look, you're using 25%. The company is safe with a lifesaver of 50%. The directors are safe with a lifesaver of 25%. And there is 25% in asset financing for your company. You need a staff van. See what happens in your 25%. That is growth. You see? So that culture will sustain your business from incidental mismanagement, will save your company from what we call untimely death, right? All those, because you come, but how do you're a director and you're building your house and you cannot know where to stop using certain profits? That's very wrong. The moment you hit into the red section and you maximize it, the next thing you cannot be saved. In other words, you reach a situation whereby the upcoming trip has to pay to finance a trip that is almost on the road or departing. That is unacceptable. It's unethical. So, as we wrap up, those are 3 things that I think we're going to have, we'll be trying this and more. I think we'll try to attract and people will get time to be live. Every Friday, we'll try to see if that we can dedicate a good conversation. It's all about coming to you live, whereby we can engage you. And I want to thank those people that have kept it here for the 1.5 hours. That's very important of us. You've showed courage. I like people that give us a thumbs up in our comments. This is good information that you're bringing on board. But would love to meet everyone. If you're there, our offices are here in Nabingo. Please come and speak to us. We've talked about free advice. 100% free advice. Come and talk to us. Come and see our business experts. We'll give you advice. There are so many tourism businesses that you can start. You see, the hospitality, the tour and travel, the airline, the restaurant beat, the culture, the souvenirs, the car rental. There is a lot. We'll give you advice on how to start, run, manage, and grow your tourism business. So I want to thank everybody. See, I don't think we have another question here. Bob Mogisha says, "Thank you for the information. It's power." Thank you, Bob, for gluing with us here. Thank you, Naiga. Thank you, Yonel. That's a big up for you guys, and continue following us. We will share. We will commit. We will commit to ensure that at least you have first-hand information in as far as assisting you, not only startup, but for everyone. We want to ascend with you in your growth, right? We'll ascend with you. We'll guide with you. We do web development. And if you go to our web portal, you'll see our projects, very brilliant websites that we've done for so many people. So if you want something which is content rich, search engine friendly, user friendly, you'll have the best, plus a number of services. Not to forget, we do training. If you want to train, I've had so many people saying, Idris, I want to know how to cost an itinerary. And my question is, do you know how to do an itinerary? No. So what are you going to cost? Because a perfect itinerary gives you a perfect costing. Now you have a vague way of doing an itinerary. Of course, your costing will be vague. So don't shy away, guys. Come for Tourism Business Consultancy. It's all about a self-entrepreneur, growing each other. Give me a hand, I'll give you a hand. But I want to confirm, I have no reason why you should not be part of the tourism industry. If you have it, please put it in the comment section why you are not part of the tourism industry. Why? It's one of the easiest business, we've said. It doesn't require money to start. You find hotels built for you. You find airlines in place, national parks where you take tourists, the boats that are in those parks that you're going to put your clients already bought by other people. So your work is to be organized, to sharpen your head. Okay, you need money. Sometimes I put 500 MBs and I win an inquiry of $1,000. So how much profit have I made anyway? So guys, it's been a pleasure having you, and it's been a pleasure for those that have listened in, that have been watching. Thank you. And I want to wish you a very beautiful evening. It's a weekend Friday, and I can't wait to see you next Friday. Bye-bye.